Once upon a time, many decades ago, a young socialite named Miss Belle Gurnay journeyed to Interlaken, Switzerland, to commission the building of a great chalet. It took 2 years to prepare the materials, the carved columns and beams, the parquet floors and marquetry friezes. Miss Gurnay loved deep woods and she loved bears, so she chose to erect her chalet on a wooded point near the resort town of Bar Harbor, Maine. This was a felicitous choice because Point Lookout Peninsula was one of the areas untouched by the Great Fire of 1947. This videotape then celebrates the estate created by Belle Gurnay, the Chalet Aux Ours, the Chalet of the Bears.
Formal side of the house, the east side, is a bit difficult to photograph either with still photography or with this camera because the cliff, as you can see on the horizon low there, begins to fall away from it early enough that you can't get enough distance on the house to take it all in easily. The staircases coming on this side, on the north side, an open porch, and on the other side, heading towards the middle, originating in a closed sleeping porch. It seemed to me a wonderful pair of staircases from which to stage a wedding. The bride's party coming down one side, the groom's the other, meeting an officiant at the elf door, as they call it, in the stucco. The glassed porch at the top of that stair and the first two sets of windows at the first 20 feet of the master bedroom. The next 2 or 4 or 8 sets of windows, depending how you count on them, anyway, 4 shutters, are the ballroom looking out, which opens onto the open porch on the north. Above that are small bedrooms and studios. The one that's bright lit on the left there is our hideaway with the skylight. It's just to give you a sense of the scale of the place, that's about a 12 by 20 foot bedroom under that. The very top in the peak are the wood-burned, life-sized bears, one on either side of the center. Namesake bears. This is about 40 feet from the ground and 100 feet away at the moment. Below that, between the stories, is the motto of the chalet. I'll start from here. In Latin, ubi es soror, ibi est felicitas, which translates, where you are, sister, there is happiness. It is a celebration of the fact that Miss Gurnay's twin sister had already built elsewhere on the peninsula. And over to the elf door, the wonderfully made, say, little door. It's something over 6 feet tall, but in the proportions of the house it seems quite elfin.
Because of the redwood stain, the extent of it, it's difficult to appreciate how much decoration there is on the formal facade, in fact on all sides of the house. So I'm shooting now the same wall from the side to give you a better feeling for the amount of carving and bracketing that goes on. First from the north porch looking down the stairs, and then from the facing staircase in the south, again the same face with the motto on it and the bears above. The brackets that extend from the wall are about 2 meters long and is about 7 feet, extending, that is, under a roof that overhangs by 7 feet. At one moment the strong geometric elements overlap in great complexity, and at others, as along the northern porch, they are isolated in a pleasing repetition. In any case, everywhere, every bracket, every staircase, every post is decorated. Standing at the northeast corner of the house at the end of the porch, taking in the evening, listening to the surf far below us. This is the side from which we see the sunrise over the water. In the distance, and I'll zoom in on it, you'll see an oak with numerous dead, gnarled branches. The tree itself, I suppose, is half dead. Someone actually suggested that we cut it out and get it out of the way. We didn't do it. Tallest trees out here are pre-fire. That is to say, they were not burned in 1947 when much of the island was, because we're isolated on a peninsula. There's a largish one. The largest ones around the woods, ours and our neighbors. And there's our chipmunk feeder, intended as a bird feeder, but a little diving board and chain didn't stop the chipmunks. This is about the second or third largest tree on the property, white pine. There are others in the woods here on the peninsula that are easily twice the size of this. They're really old and were left here because they're so-called wolf trees, which is to say that they branch early and were not of much use for masts or for timber, so they were left for seed. So some of them are really quite old, I'm sure. Down below us, between us and the water, there's a tree somewhat larger than this, somewhat taller, which we frequently see eagles. I think from here it'll probably look not particularly impressive. Let's see. It's the furthest one that actually goes down to the water, which is about 130 feet down, aside from the 40 feet or so that you see. I mean, it goes down to the plateau above the water. So it's something well over 100 feet and quite a large diameter when you walk down to it. It explained to me why the eagles would choose what from here seemed a fairly ordinary tree. In fact, it's quite tall and gives them quite a view of the littoral zone where they hunt. Shooting from the open porch on the north side of the house, outside the ballroom and the main guest room, attracted here by the thrush and also by the sound of a surf, which even here in the innermost harbor, in the shallows, has been kicked up by Hurricane Bertha.
thrushes sing essentially at all times of the day, predictably at morning and evening. Seem never to tire of it, nor do I. When the surf is up like this, or when it's raining, or both, we like to go to the third floor where we have another bedroom, another king-size bed in one of the rustic bedrooms, essentially a hideaway. Listen with the windows open and the roof just above us to the rain, the wind, and the surf. Sunset's coming on. I'm standing on the north porch, which is open. Hard to show the north porch because the woods come so close up to it. Right now I'm showing a detail of construction, namely the thickness of the walls. This applies to a lot of the interior ones also. They're a good 4 inches thick solid wood with the 2 grooves, so that there shouldn't be any infiltration of air, no drafts. And as you can see, carved. Always carved the sides, carved along the fronts. They're sheltered by the great overhang of the roof, so they almost never get wet, hold their stained color, and of course show no rot. Here, as elsewhere, the simplicity of the lines and the setting in the woods make some lovely effects of light and planes. Very large, long porch, almost 50 feet long. Here on the north, as you can see, it's very closely, very close to the woods on this side, so it's hard to show it from the side. About where I'm standing, the main guest room opens to the porch. Beyond that, the guest bathroom, hallway. Though the driveway or arrival side of the house is the less formal, the entrance on this side is far and away the most used. Approach it by flagstone, and as you enter, find the flagstone continues into a stucco room, which perhaps in Switzerland was good for removing skis or snowshoes. Here, good for removing waffle stompers, and in summer wonderfully cool at all times. Now inside the stucco entry room with its lively shower stall acoustics. The shutters in here open inward rather than outward. They're called avalanche shutters because here at the door, should there be some great weight of ice and snow come crashing down in Switzerland, you need to be able to open the shutters inward and not force against the weight. You can dig your way out. And incidentally, they make for better security because they're locked on the inside quite securely. the stucco room again. Since beginning the shooting of this, I've met the granddaughter of the woman who built the place. And she reminded me that the flagstone floor in real chalets is there because they traditionally keep animals on the lower story, both for the sake of the animals and also, by the way, they gain heat from it. This is the door between the stucco entryway and the utility area off to the side, the garage, the laundry. Hanging in the stairwell down to the stucco landing is an ancient lantern from the Yankee China trade. We bought it at a local auction after outbidding the wife of the bank president, who also wanted it very much, and afterwards said to us, "I'll come visit it." It gives us a great deal of pleasure at different times of the day, sometimes creating an effect against the stucco, which is very southwestern to my eye, and very pleasing therefore.
This is a small two-room apartment known as a chauffeur's apartment on the ground floor, 2.5 rooms counting the bath. Looks out upon the driveway and has its own door to the woods. There's the wine closet with the key, so the chauffeur shouldn't help him. In the Bible it said that a wise man builds his house upon a rock. This one's built on solid granite. In fact, so solid the well goes down 350 feet and fetches up the most wonderful cold water imaginable. Anyhow, it's then founded in turn upon heavy I-beams, which, aside from the security they provide, the stability, also make it possible to use fewer of the beams and to leave a higher ceiling on the ground story. This, which is a large storage room in the cellar, or raised cellar, ground floor, has about an 8-foot ceiling, which is a pleasure for somebody my height. This will be another part of the same large storage room, over 40 by 20 feet. This is the base of the hearth and chimney for the ballroom above it. The door that I'm panning towards, we like to describe to small children as either the elf door or the bear door. And we find that that tends to make them want to stay and go in and out of it. It opens onto the cliff. In fact, you've seen it in the views of the formal side of the house, where it looks rather small. You'll see a half shot of it here. There it is in the center. When we bought the place, we swore we wouldn't get a bunch of bear stuff. As you can see, we failed. There's our bear family. There are the slippers that we give to guests who show up in muddy shoes so that they don't get on the parquet. I'd like to be able to say that other people gave us this stuff, but that would be a fib. For no particular reason, I suppose, except thoroughness, I'm showing a twilight view of the garage doors on the arrival side in the right-hand corner. These doors, like all the doors in the house, are solid, heavy wood with heavy hardware. No plywood, no hollow doors anywhere. They have a very satisfying feel to them, like the door of a Buick or a Cadillac. The chime you hear is a little Japanese wind bell, and if you can hear it, there's the inevitable thrush out in the woods.
From the northeast corner of the house, the path runs along the cliff to the stairs that take it down to the water. Pathway is dappled sunlight alternating with cool stands of trees. Along the way, another view of our wonderful old gnarled oak tree.
More than 60 years ago, various spots along the trail, Miss Gournay's gardeners set in stones to help you along the way. By now they're so nicely mossed in that you don't notice them except looking backwards at them. Coming to what used to be the foundation of a small oriental bridge across a tiny ravine. You could see the foundation stone across the ravine. It's at the head of the stairs and the cliff. The girls in the neighborhood in that day, some of whom are still living to tell us about it, loved to dress up and play tea on the bridge, as indeed they did on the porches of the chalet when no one was here. Under the water were a summer's labor for a young carpenter. He used pressure-treated wood. It was done apparently by a process called woolmanizing. The way he said it, it took us quite a while to figure out just what you did to wood to womanize it. We estimate that the height of the cliff altogether, all told, is about 130 feet from the house to the water.
Staircase gives a nice perspective on the rock formations of the island. A little peninsula here off the stairs. Every 20 stairs or so, there's what we call a puffin bench to help with a return trip. Oh, there's, as I'll show you later, another way up. It was landscaped and set out long ago. There's a sense of the cliff at the top. I'm told by a friend who likes to count things that there are 168 steps in all, eventuating in this deck for breakfast or picnics. It's nicely shaded just for sitting and reading. And eventually the Atlantic Ocean itself.
Later we'll return to look at other aspects of the walk, the great crops of mushrooms and stumps and such. I'm sure you'll agree it's time to get back to the house. You're looking at plans drawn up in the 20s for the house. They turned up recently. Every detail meticulously set down, and in many cases then shown, the carving was then shown life-size so it could be traced, although I haven't photographed that. Each part was then numbered and brought over very elaborate codes, some of which you'll see in pictures of the attic. There's a chart with the numbers. Anyhow, we'll return to the stucco room, the entryway, and go up the stairs. It's late afternoon as we re-enter the entryway, the unlighted stucco room. We get a magic lantern show from the shadows of plants around the doorway. Living in the woods, we get many such shows on clear days. And when it's not clear, when it's rainy or foggy, that has its own particular kind of beauty too.
planes of the house were quite orderly, simple, geometric, everything in Ordnung, as the Swiss might say. And yet the way they're laid out makes for a very interesting complexity of planes. And the decorative carving emphasizes that. You're looking up the staircase from the bottom floor.
Back to the head of the stairs to do just the quickest survey from the nice central location of the staircase of the main floor of the house, what the Europeans would call the first floor. Through this swinging door to the right is the galley, the cook's bedroom, bathroom, pantry, cleaning area, kitchen, dinette, and dining porch. Behind that little door with no knob is the maid's closet of supplies. There's the quickest glimpse of the master bathroom, bedroom rather, which includes a master bath and a sleeping porch beyond it. Some locally made dolls. A peep into the ballroom, the center of the house facing the cliff. I'll show you a bronze register which used to have electric coils behind it. We kept the registers and now we have hot water with a fan driving the heat, modern system, same old grills. That hallway and door lead to the north porch. There's also doors to the north porch from the ballroom and from the main guest room, which is in there with a nice bath. And then finally a continuation of the central staircase right up to third floor. Got it all?
The view along the main hall towards the staircase. I'm standing in the alcove of a door that leads to the outside porch. Each room on the main floor, each major room, has a different parquet. This one with its Greek motif border is in the master bedroom, which looks out over the cliff. The guest room, we call the winter guest room since it's on the main floor. The parquet tries to fool the eye. Parquet in the ballroom is the darkest and probably, I suppose, the most complicated of all, although it isn't obvious. Many crisscrossing pieces of wood. As you can probably tell from the glare, we've had them all waxed, as they always have been. Tile work in the house also has a nice, competent, custom touch to it. This is the border and tile in the guest bathroom on the main floor. Kitchen is quite modern. It was put in by the just previous owner, the husband being a gourmet cook. Has a nice Italian piazza sweep to the black and white. You've seen this particular parquet before, and you'll probably see it again because it's the main landing, top of the stairs on the second floor, the main floor. But I'll show it to you here in the context of talking about all the different parquets in the house. It's oak, dark oak, and light birch, but European varieties. They're very slightly different from ours.
I promise at some point we'll really have a tour of the main rooms. There's so many aspects of the house that don't map out particularly with any one part of the house that I prefer to run some of those in before I show you the main event. You're looking at signatures here and there tucked into the baseboard of the ceiling, scrawled in the stairwells along the edges of doors, of people who built or served the house at some time in the past. Most of them are in antique European script, except for this one, R.L. White and Son, Bar Harbor, Maine, along the edge of a door.
This, of course, is a kitchen. All brand new, except for the walls and ceiling, which in here are shellacked instead of waxed, presumably they can resist grease and dirt. And 2 ovens, a bar sink and a regular sink. All in all, it's quite convenient place to work. I'll now put the camera at the other end of the kitchen and show the dinette on which I'm shooting. This is the dining end. For larger, informal groups, we go to the dining porch, which is just to the right, through the French doors you're about to see. And for either larger groups or more formal dining, or winter dining, we can go to the ballroom. The cabinetry in the background, the bookcases, 12 feet long and 9 feet high. They had them made to cover a rather bare wall, and of course to give us a nice functional space. Carving at the top is copied from original carvings on the porch. The painting with its worshipful frog by a local artist, Paul Black. In fact, the music you're hearing is by a local pianist, Paul Sullivan. So I guess you'd say it's Paul's all over.
Now we're going to step out of the nighttime kitchen onto the southerly porch where, miraculously enough, it's bright daylight. This actually is the sleeping porch half of the south porch, which is, as you can see, a glassed solarium. The master bedroom and master bath open off this porch to the left of the hammock into the bedroom, and here into the bath with a view. Now back up from this half of the porch to the dining half, which can be, of course, closed off for privacy. This is the doorway to the kitchen, the French doors, Swiss doors. The 2 chandeliers that you'll see we bought from an old Italian restaurant when they went out of business with an auction. Same period as the house, we figure. We used the dining porch with as many as 4 of those tables and sets of chairs, which we also got from the old Italian restaurant. That's a pass-through to the kitchen where you can pass food in or dishes out. This leads to a small porch on the front of the house with a trellis of retraining vines. The front in this case meaning the informal side, the arrival side, which is just beyond that window. If you recall, I'll show you, I'll pan the glass along this half of the porch. These are the windows which are double jointed, so to speak, and open all the way in to be cleaned. Going to have lunch. There's a fog rolling in from the ocean. I'll give you some fog shots after lunch.
Today the woods, looking out from the south porch, are, in Frost's words, lovely, dark, and deep. We're standing just at the threshold of the main guest room, or winter guest room. Shooting from the doorway from the hall into the room. And I'll change the location and shoot back at this. This is the door, the French doors to the north porch, which is open. Opens right off the guest room, as well as the guest bath, the hallway, and the ballroom at the other end of the house. In a moment I'll show you closer pictures of the marquetry wood pictures that frame the room. 3 of these, or 2 of them I guess, were taken out by the just previous owners, taken to Boston for an evaluation to see, I suppose, whether they should take them before they sold the house. Thank goodness the dealer that they consulted convinced them that the panels were much more valuable in place in the property that they were trying to sell than they ever would be on the open market. Particularly remarkable in these to me is the use of burl as a certain wood grains for the representation of mountains. Swirls, example there, the different shadings, rock indications of rock formations. Coming up in the corner is a small and then a larger rendering of views of the Matterhorn. We found a book published in 1937, less than 10 years after the house was built. In fact, many of these scenes are quite literal, taken from photographs.
There now, we've made it through a whole day together, and you've been very patient with me. So now I'll show you something that I've been saving for later, but I think it's time. We'll move inside the house and take a look at the ballroom.
As a girl, Miss Gournay was blinded in one eye by a tennis ball, which is presumably the reason she chose a style of house with overhanging roof that mutes light, is set in deep woods. And when it comes to the ballroom, this room, which faces the ocean and gets the dawn sunshine, the wood and ceiling are done quite darkly to absorb light. I'm showing the nighttime view now through the windows there that you see reflecting. There's normally a great deal of daylight or daylight lighted vista available. The room, as you'll see it, is in its summer orientation. the sofa oriented towards the porch, away with its back to the fireplace, whereas in winter, of course, everything would be turned around. I'll now pan back at a lower level, give a sense of the furnishing. That's the wood box and a banner. Fireplace to the right, you see a little muddling pot that can be kept as kerosene used to light. The built-in benches in the corner were used as two parts of a long dining area by Miss Gournay. That is to say, there was a long table along there with chairs on this side. We initially tried furnishing the room with light furniture and light rugs, but they looked rather insubstantial. So we picked more seraglio type furnishings, wood, dark paisleys, and quit fighting it. By mid-afternoon, the ballroom has become a cool, quiet, dark place. Here's one of those bears from which to observe the natural surroundings.
As with the house and grounds in general, the ballroom is sufficiently complex and changeable that I can't hope to convey all the different moods of the day and seasons. So I'll simply give you another slice of it with my equipment, this time at dawn. The light upon the interior, and then in a moment, the light through the windows. Again, as with the master bedroom, facing the cliff out over the ocean.
This is the window of the little room we think of as our hideaway, up on the roof where we like to sleep when it's raining. Looks down the cliff towards the sea. I'll tip down and give you some slight sense of the grounds. Little broadleaf plants are mostly mayflowers and lily of the valley. You can see the rocky crown in the shadow of the house. Out in the distance, furthest tree. There it is. Actually quite a tall tree, well over 100 feet coming up from the water's edge. And right there where the branches are bare and quite substantial. Sometimes eagles sit and hunt because it gives them a very good view of the entire littoral zone. This is one of two rustic bedrooms, formerly maids' quarters, with a call bell on the wall, up on the third story of the chalet. In addition to the two small bedrooms on the third floor, and two very large studio spaces, which in fact originally were one very large space, in which there was a cottage built, right, a house within the house, with its own flower boxes with live flowers. The legend among realtors and local folk was that it was built for the companion of Miss Gournay as her own place. And had a
We come now to the master bedroom. I had thought to cart out of it the debris of usage, to gussy it up and show it in a vacant formality better suited perhaps to the ballroom. But instead, what you'll see is what we see every day. The wood box contains splintered kindling. The fireplace, ashes. The mantelpiece exhibits in frames the ceremonial flotsam of family history. Our bookcase is its usual rummagey jumble, and the bed pillows, when you see them, all have dented fenders. And, of course, the bureau with the litter of daily living. The sleeping porch with a pillow left in the hammock. But even so, our feeling about the master bedroom is that it has the fine bones of a great beauty, and nothing can... Do you remember the book of tourist photos that I mentioned earlier? This is a picture of Saint-Moritz, and the next one, I believe, is a picture from the 30s of the Lake of Brienz with its artificially built up peninsula. In a moment you'll see these rendered around the friezes of the master bedroom in rather large scale wood burnings, everything burnt into the wood. We were able to identify them on account of this little booklet. Here's a young gentleman waiting for one of the very characteristic canopied taxi boats of Saint Moritz, which lies across the lake in tiny, tiny detail. This will give you a sense of how the friezes are. They go all the way around the master bedroom, above the columns. And here's the Lake of Brienz, seen from the other side, with the peninsula now on the left.
give you a few details on the master bedroom. Perhaps things that only a householder could love. We're going to pan down from the beam, a beam in the ceiling, across one of many panels that are wood-burned, scenes of Switzerland, quite literal. One thing I want to show you is the capitals, a date from the period, as my savvy daughter observed their papyrus capitals, and presumably were influenced by the discovery of Tut's tomb in 1924, 6 years, well actually 5 years before this place was designed. In other words, they're pharaonic ancient Egyptian capitals in decoration. Further down the wall, again like almost everything in the house, waxed wood, there's a grill, if I can find it. There it is. This is what covers our heating system. It's original. And there's the new system. Instead of the old sort of toaster coils for a three-season house, what you're looking at now is a hot water system, oil-fired, with vanes to act like a radiator, and then a fan at the bottom to drive air through them. So this one little thing in the wall, which replaces what was already in the wall and is covered by the old grill, heats the entire bedroom, which is a rather large bedroom. I gather from what I read that Americans have finally discovered the bathroom as a place that can be rather funny and luxurious. This one, which is off the master bedroom, it has the waxed walls, solid glass towel holders, and fixtures, hoppers, sink, bidet, tub, which according to a plumber who came in recently to make a repair in the maid's room, are worth hundreds of dollars each because they are so massive and so well made. I'll tell you something about bathroom ensemble that you probably didn't know, which is that if you lift the lid of the toilet, QV, you'll find a date. In this case, although I would have guessed it was from the 50s, all pillowy and cushy and in great shape, when you look into that lid, it's dated. I believe the date is April 8th, 1928. Anyhow, it's original to the house, and is a wonderful appliance with a pearlized lid. Traveling from the hopper on across, just to give you a sense of the bathroom, there's a toothbrush holder of a sort that we sell. There's a mirror flanked by half-shaded lights, original. The mirror itself we brought in. It was made in Paris, and I'm happy to say abandoned on trash night in Cambridge, Mass, with the two loose tiles thoughtfully set out beside the mirror, so that we could replace them and take it away. Brief glimpse of the matching color cushy sink. On around this door, which is full length, French door, floor to ceiling, leads to the porch, which is also a sleeping porch in sections and a dining porch. In other words, you can take a bath with a view. Here comes the bathtub, which is of a nice width, depth, and length. Cushy as only things might be back when people only took baths. You'll see a European drain system. See in the center between the two faucets, there's a stem that sort of drops down and seals it off. Works wonderfully 60 years after it was installed. I'll save that detail down there. Here's a towel for the bidet. And Gale's the castor oil ad. And finally, from an American point of view, the most curious feature of the bathroom, built 60 years ago by a continental lady. There's a bidet with 4 handles, 2 for the rim, 2 different temperatures, and 2 for the fountain. Just to round out the picture, here's the view from the porch the bathroom opens onto. And the view towards the porch. This is the sleeping porch, directly outside the master bedroom through a French door. That's the Guatemalan, Yucatecan hammock that we fancy on the porch. Double bed size actually, so we can accommodate a crowd. This is a Polish rug we bought from an antique dealer nearby. Here's the approach from the porch into the master bedroom.
As you saw early in this video, much of the beauty of the eastern rooms, like the master bedroom, is the play of light, in this case of dawn light, on the walls and furnishings. And now here's the secret of all of our wonderful lighting effects in the chalet. A genie, of course. It's the genie which allows us to look out the window at the autumn colors on the cliff and wish that the lights were brighter and the colors would come out better. And so we say, please do.
This, as you may or may not recall, is the driveway side, the access entrance to the house with its flagstone. Now I'll show you something that I've been keeping off camera all summer while we worked on it. And that is a great deal more flagstone work. Everything from you see from here on is new, or in the case of the driveway apron, restored. In order to do it, we meaning Daniel Happy, our contractor from Pennsylvania, who did the very careful work, the two of us took a truck to the quarries in Monson, Maine, chose the slate, the flagstone ourselves. This is the apron for parking, keeping your feet dry. There's a drain, and it gives access to the garage. This has all been torn up when the new septic system was installed, so we're very pleased to have got that laid again. And then this is all new, the connecting walkway to the big project, the new project. So I'll have to show it to you in a state in which the major pieces are in place. It'll be some years before we actually have tree peonies growing in the corners and pear trees, espalier on the wall. These are all raised garden beds, built pressure treated lumber, lined with rubber roofing with a drain at the bottom of that, so they always have thorough drainage. Floored with flagstone in the terrace, and featuring a bench also made by Daniel Happy, which we dote upon greatly. We love it. The curves for the brackets are taken from the house, and brackets all under there, and then the bench itself is made painstakingly out of pressure-treated lumber, so it'll last a great while. These beds are subdivided, so we have two levels, each of them well drained. Everything is overbuilt. There's basically three kinds of drainage in each bed, which seemed appropriate to the standards set by the chalet builders in the first place. The little wires that you see here and there will have verdigris finished bronze lanterns as soon as they arrive.
Again, it has gotten late. Late in the day, late in the season, and late on the tape. It's time soon to light lamps and go out fishing for silver. Here's a closer look at that moon. Now, visitors always ask us why the moon seems so large in Maine, and I've asked about it myself. And I hear things about the clarity of the atmosphere and the angle through the atmosphere. But in thinking about it, I think there really can only be one answer. And that is, the Maine moon actually is larger. As the title states, this has been an appreciation rather than a survey of the Chalet Aux Ours. A survey would have begun with maps and floor plans and proceeded through a complete and orderly tour, and measured against this, I've done very poorly. The chalet has 5 complete bathrooms, and I've shown you only 1. What I've tried to convey instead is something far more elusive, the sense of living amidst a beauty that is augmented at every step and every season. This videotape is a testimonial to a dream come true, for we live here imbued with the feeling that our home really is our castle.